Hello and welcome to my Week 8 NPL game versus Mono. Unfortunately I could not do a live com for this. Well, I did actually do a live com for this, but for some reason I couldn't actually play it back. OBS is saving my files in an FLV format rather than a MP4 format. I've changed that for the future. But as a result, this game and the rest of the NPL season, I'll just be doing post-coms instead of live coms. I've enjoyed doing live coms, but it's just becoming a large hassle to get them to work properly. So yeah, from now until the end of the season, post-coms, and I'll try and do live coms for as much as I can for the future. Anyway, into the matchup. Mono has a very, very scary team of Megalopony, Toxapex, Tyranitar, Gliscor, Ferrothorn, Mimikyu, Reuniclus, Curum, Sandslash, Scyther, and Manectric. Now, there's a few things on that team that really scare me. Megalopony is one. I don't have very solid answers to Megalopony, and it's one of the best mons on his team, so I imagine he's going to use that. In addition, the Toxapex is just kind of shutting down things like my Darmanitan. Gliscor is really annoying Tapu Koko, stuff like that. Saying that though, there's some things on his team that I just do not see as being a threat at all. For example, his Sandslash. Even in sand, I'm very certain I can deal with a Sandslash no matter what. Things like the Tyranitar itself. I feel like I've got a very decent matchup against Tyranitar. So overall, I think this matchup is pretty much even, because as much as Megalopony is a threat to me, things like my Tapu Koko, my Mence, they are threats to him, and it's worth. It's not a bad matchup for me, but it's not a good matchup for me either. It's pretty neutral. So yeah, let's just get into the team builder. Now this is Magnet Tapu Koko, nicknamed Falcon because it reminds me kind of like a falcon, I guess. With Roost, Calm Mind, Thunderbolt, and Hidden Power Ice. Hidden Power Ice is there because there's a Gliscor, and that's the only electric immunity that he has aside from Sandslash, which also gets hit by Hidden Power Ice, but I'm not expecting the Sandslash at all. Roost means that I have a bit of longevity in case I'm in a situation 1v1 versus stuff like a Toxapex. Tapu Koko can win this way, and yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Roost means that I can beat the bulkier teams. Calm Mind gives me setup options for if I can kill the things that can outspeed Tapu Koko, and the speed investment on this is just enough to outspeed a non-Scarf Manectric, and that's basically that then. I think it also outspeeds Scyther as well. Yeah, it also outspeeds Scyther. We can afford to go modest this match, which is very nice. I like modest Tapu Koko. But next up we have Norberta, the Salamence, and Salamence is good this matchup, just as a Scarf Mon. Something to outspeed and hit the Lopunny very hard is appreciated. The Toxapex is an issue for it though, because Toxapex is incredibly fat. I've put normal moves on there, I feel. Outrage, Dragon Claw, Earthquake, and Shadow Claw. Shadow Claw is there for the Mimikyu. Double Dragon hits everything else on his team hard enough aside from Ferrothorn. And Earthquake is there for things like the Manectric, like the T-Tar, like the Toxapex, for when I just need a little bit more damage than Outrage can provide me. Also as a move to click when I don't want to lock myself into Outrage. And as a move that isn't a dragon type that's just high enough base power to just use. So yeah, that's the Salamence. Up next we have Celebi, Doctor Who, the Time Traveller. This is Sword Stance, Seed Bomb, Recover, and Zen Headbutt with 112 attack investment. That's not really a matter, but the speed is enough to outspeed the Mimikyu. 172 HP is enough that we can live any one hit from the T-Tar unless it's banded, and I'm talking about even stuff like Life Orb, Dark Pulse, and Crunches and things like that. And it also means that the Megalopony cannot 3-hit KO me with Return if it is Jolly. If it's Adamant it can, obviously, but I don't think he'd run Adamant just because I do have the Tapu Koko. Yeah, Seed Bombs and Headbutt hits everything on his team hard aside from the Ferrothorn. Recover is just fine. Swords Dance is there to set up, and I can get away with not hitting the Ferrothorn hard enough because, I mean, this set just doesn't care about Ferrothorn. It just sets up SDs in its face eventually. It'll break through. So up here we have Ron. No idea why I named it this, gonna be honest. There's just no real reason to name it that. Roost, Bug Bite, Bullet Punch, and Sword Stance. It's a good enough late game win con. So long as I can kill off the Toxapex beforehand, Scizor can potentially win. I was initially Return instead of Bug Bite, but I took Return off for Bug Bite when things like Ferrothorn were just walling me, Reuniclus was giving me a hard time, things like that. So yeah, pretty standard stuff here. There's no real need to explain what these EVs do or anything. Next up we have Shiza, the Life Orb Nidoking, with Ice Beam, Flamethrower, Earth Power, and Stealth Rock. This is just for rocks, basically. Also pressures his team immensely. He doesn't have great switch-ins to it, but equally it finds limited room to come in. I mean, ideally this will be coming in on things like Toxapex, maybe even T-Tars, Gliscors if I can tell that the Gliscor is bulky, Ferrothorn as well because we do have Flamethrower, but this is just generally a decent enough breaker with Stealth Rocks because I didn't want to run Stealth Rocks on Celebi. So finally this week we have Hooper, the Wide Lens Hooper, so we don't miss Focus Blast with Trick Room, Shadow Ball, and Psyshock. We've got just enough speed to outspeed any T-Tar variant that is not Scarf, so we can lead off with this thing turn 1, unless he brings Lopunny. I mean, unless I expect the Lopunny lead, and potentially win this way. And if the T-Tar goes down, Trick Room Hooper against him looks very, very nice indeed. And Shadow Ball, Focus Blast, and Psyshock is good coverage for his entire team. It's good coverage in general. There's not many teams that won't be hitting everything neutrally against. So yeah, I'll see you all in the... So here we are, and he brought the Megalopony, the Kyurem, Manectric, Mimikyu, Tyranitar, and Gliscor. So no Toxapex, which is really, really good news for my Mega Scizor. All I need is about 60% on the Manectric, and Mega Scizor can potentially just win, which is amazing, because it's not often that that will happen. It does struggle to set up because I imagine that this is going to have Hidden Power Fire, this is going to have Fire Punch, this is going to have Fire Blast. Don't know what this is going to have, but yeah, it's just good as a Pokemon in this matchup, and it can set up on the Mimikyu quite easily. So the other thing to note is that Tapu Koko looks decent but not amazing in this, and SD Celebi is what I feel like my lead should be. So I lead off with my Hooper, actually expecting him to maybe lead off with his Tyranitar, but I do go out into my Celebi turn 1, trying to rack up the Rocky Helmet chip damage on the Lopunny, put him in range of things like my Salamancer's Outrage and stuff like that, which would be nice. Here I just choose to go for these Sword Stance, trying to get this damage on the Gliscor so that my Tapu Koko can kill it. Maybe even get a flinch, but Zen Headbutt misses, which is just amazing. As he goes for U-turn here, gets some Rocky Helmet chip damage on himself as well as he goes into Lopunny, and here I'm basically just going to accept that my Celebi's dead. Because, yeah, that's kind of the way it's working at the moment. I go into Salamence here, and he switches out into his Tyranitar, and on this turn I just clicked Outrage, and it's actually a 2-hit KO on that T-Tar, which is pretty amazing. I was not expecting that at all. He goes into Mimikyu here on the second turn of Outrage, as, well, I mean, that's the right play, so can't say anything about that. But here I choose to just hard switch into my Sizzle, because Sizzle can easily take on almost any variant of Mimikyu. Even the Z move here is going to do about 60% max. And on the Z move, we see it actually does 84%, as I Roost. I was thinking normal Shadow Claw, my bad, I apologize. And here I choose to, I believe I chose to Roost again. No, I actually chose to go for Bullet Punch there in case he went for SD. But we do get a crit, so that's a very rewarding play. And here I misplay, I go out into my Hooper. I knew it was going to click Volt Switch. I should have just gone into my Nidoking, and I should have just trusted that that was going to happen. Because essentially, this just gives Lopunny the free switch in, and it can just click Return and pick up a kill. And Hooper goes down having done nothing. Sorry that my avatar keeps on changing. Here I go into my Nidoking, and I just go for Earth Power because it's a kill. and he reveals that he's actually shook a berry on his T-Tar, but it doesn't matter because Nidoking is strong and crits him anyway. But at this point he can go into his Kyurem, and I don't have a switch in, so I have to let my Nidoking go. But oh well, it's still okay to handle. Here I go onto my Calm Mind Tapu Koko thinking I can beat this 1v1, as I just go for the Calm Mind. As he goes for the Ice Beam, it does less than 50%, telling me I can Calm Mind again and then proceed to Roost. Or I actually chose to just Roost there straight away. I think that Calm Minding would have been a better play as opposed to Roosting straight away there. I think I did that. I don't know why I'm Roosting here all the time, as it does give him the opportunity just to go for the Toxic. Unfortunate, I guess, but here I'm going to go for Hidden Power Ice, just get as much damage on this on this Kyurem as I can, but at this point I'm in a pretty bad situation. I go for the Thunderbolt there, showing me I should have gone for Thunderbolt rather than Hidden Power Ice last turn, because it would have been a 2-hit KO. Whereas now he can literally just recover on me, and I can't stop it. So this has just been a waste of a Tapu Koko. That was a pretty bad misplay on my part. But here I do go out into my Scarfments. If I'm going to win this game, it's going to be with Scarfments, as I go for the Dragon Claw and get the Moxie boost, as here he goes out into his Mimikyu, and I just choose to double into my Scizor here. It's my only real chance of winning. But oh well, here he goes for the Shadow Claw, actually crits me as I roosted. So that was very nearly very scary, as he cannot do 50% to me with a Shadow Claw unless he gets the crit. So he SD'd there trying to make sure he could, as I go for another Bullet Punch, and 1 second. Sorry, someone was at my door. He clicked Shadow Claw on this turn and did 64%. It's actually a roll for Shadow Sneak to kill me from here, but he didn't go for it, perhaps predicting me to go for a Roost on it. But no, I wasn't going to do that. Here I just let the dog go for Flamethrower. I'm essentially thinking my only way of winning is if this is now Specs dog, which I'm not expecting. As here I go for the Outrage. I should have just hard switched into my Mence on that turn, and then clicked the Outrage, as opposed to doing it the way I did. Or maybe just the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw would have been better. But here he goes for the Volt Switch into his Gliscor. And we're able to do a huge chunk to that. We are gonna hit ourselves in confusion. We are gonna get confused. Thankfully, we do not hit ourselves in confusion, so we can kill off the Gliscor. So my only hope now is that he does not have Hidden Power Ice with his Manectric, and he does. So, oh well, good game, Mono. But sometimes you just lose games that are close. He played that well. He absolutely deserved to win. Close 1-0 loss, but now we're in a pretty shaky situation as far as playoffs are concerned. We're 4-4 with a terrible differential, and I essentially need to win out for the rest of the season in order to make playoffs, which is difficult to say the least, given the quality of my next two opponents. So, yep, thank you guys for watching anyway, and I will see you all next time. Peace.